Get ready for the Bolivar Christmas Market, Saturday of Thanksgiving weekend. Arts, crafts, clothing, woodwork, bags, and more in Crystal Beach, Texas. Hey everybody, I'm David with Bolivar Live, and once again, I'm here with Chandra with Aaron and Franklin Engineering. And actually, this is the first show in, 2-3 years since we started doing them that you're actually just a bystander.
Just me.
Just you.
Just a private citizen, just like y'all.
Now you're not on the TWIA board. You were on there as long as they would let you be.
That's
Let's
right.
see what the governor sent you. Hold up,
Yes.
this is cool.
Oh, nice. They gave me a nice commendation for my years of service.
2015 to 24. Boy, that's a long 9 years.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it was really a surprise. I got that yesterday, and I was. It's nice to be recognized. I mean, when you commit, a position like that is. It takes a lot of time to try to do it well, and it's nice to be recognized, and especially after 9 years of being on.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it's a long time, and it's a lot of commitment. So I'm happy to have served, but that chapter is now closed. So
that gives you about 5 hours a week extra now. Right. What are you going to do?
Right. I mean, between all the emails and, board prep, and I was doing weekly calls with the general manager and, all kinds of committee meetings and stuff. So, I mean, there was always something going on. So I definitely am happy that that's kind of behind me. So
let's talk about, I did the show last week announcing that it was turned down by the insurance board director. Where do we go now? And you brought something up a while ago. Let's talk about that. You know what I'm talking about.
So like you said, the commissioner did, she did reject the proposed 10% rate increase that TWIA presented. The board is required statutorily every August to present a rate increase. That can be a 0 rate increase. It can be a percentage rate increase. It's whatever the board votes on in their August meeting. And so she did her due diligence. She had until October 15th to make a decision on if she was going to accept or reject that proposal. And she rejected it. If she rejects it, she has to write, that commentary about why she's rejecting it. And, basically, her reasons were exactly my reasons when I spoke at the board at the public hearing, was that it was not fair, it was not just, and it caused an undue burden on the policyholders, and that is exactly what they're not allowed to do per statute. So she used that as the basis of her reason for rejecting it, which I felt was valid. Which obviously, since I had brought it up at the public meeting. But, of course, there's all kinds of financial impacts to that. And it's chain reaction. If one business has a increase, they're going to have to pass that along. Then every single business is going to be impacted by that. So then the citizens are even more compoundedly impacted by that. So I'm really glad that is kind of behind us. But, it's statutorily required that that's done every August 15th. And so usually the August board meeting is done prior to that so that there's enough time to have that filing done and into the commissioner by the appointed deadline. But the board can request a rate increase at any time. So they do have to put it in their published meeting. So it's not going to be a surprise. So usually 11 days prior to the board meeting, they'll post their agenda. So when I was chair, usually 2 weeks, a little more than 2 weeks before the meeting, we would do a run through of the whole board packet and the whole board agenda. I would say, I want these things moved in the agenda. I want these things added to the agenda, or I need clarification on these points that are in the board packet before it goes out to the board members. So, or please mention this in the meeting specifically, or whatever I wanted. So, because they would tell me stuff that they wouldn't necessarily have put in the board packet. I'm like, y'all need to put that in the board packet, or y'all need to be sure and say that in the meeting. So we would always adjust that, but they can't add that little rate discussion and at any time. And the problem is we have a whole new board coming in, basically. I mean, we have 4 new board members, and I don't think any of them have been appointed yet, but there's going to be 4 new board members, and we've already just gotten recently 2 new board members. So that's going to be 6 people that are really going to change the dynamic of the TWIA board. And we don't really know, it's kind of a wild card. We don't really know what they're going to do. So I think we just need to monitor those agendas and see what they put on it and make sure that we're proactive and that we're vocal if something comes up that we need to speak about, because you've only got 11 days. Like once you see that agenda come out, you got 11 days before that meeting to say something or show up to the meeting or, hold them accountable, because they can kind of just sneak it in there. And now I don't think I'm not the governor. I don't think the commissioner is going to approve anything else right now. I mean, she's obviously taking a stance on this right now, and I don't think that would change before next August. I think she's going to want to get through the legislative session, see how that comes out, get the start of hurricane season, see how that's going, and then August, review it. By October, you're getting close to the end of hurricane season, so you can kind of get a sense of where things are going to kind of shake out usually. So I don't really anticipate any changes between now and August, but you never know. It's good to keep vigilant,
Yeah.
Pay attention to those agendas.
When will they have the new board members on the board so everyone knows who the board members are?
I mean, they were hurting to find applicants. And so the last time I checked, they had not found an applicant for my position, or they thought they might have a position for the other coastal position. And then of course there's a company position and an inland position. And I don't know.
Well, I know there's one application in there. I won't mention any names.
We won't mention any names, but yes.
I know there's one in there, and I really hope they get it.
There is a due diligence period. They do some really serious vetting of that person, on just the scrutiny of the application itself. And then they, pursue a background check, and then they do an interview. So it's a pretty extensive process. I mean, you're a volunteer, but you're also representing the state. So they want to make sure that you're the kind of person that they want in that position, or you're the right fit for that position. So.
Okay, TWIA, Saga's done.
I hope so.
Hopefully nothing tries to get pushed through. We've seen stuff at a state level get pushed through, and so we'll keep an eye on that.
I think the big thing is we need to stay on our legislators and make sure that they are focused this session on changing that funding structure. That is going to be critical to making any real substantive change to the way TWIA is managed, and that the way that we do reinsurance, which is the biggest driver to our rate increases.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Now moving forward.
What's up for us? What's Sarah and Franklin going to do? Yeah, what are we going to talk about?
We'll get you plenty of coverage. Chandra and I were talking earlier, and for the last 3 or 4 months, we've been talking about TWIA through her eyes. But now we're going to take a little different, and we've had some new shows come out this fall, and some of them we haven't started yet. But one thing that I want people to know about Aaron and Franklin is the longevity of some of their employees and what their employees do, so that if you call over there and you have to talk to a certain person, I want it that there's a good chance that person through one of our shows. And so Chandra and I talked about it, and starting next week, I think we're gonna, if not the week before, in fact, I think next week will probably be an overview. And then the next week you'll start being introduced to some
let's meet everybody and see what
some
our
of
team
the
looks
employees that are on Bolivar, that are in Galveston, that maybe work behind the scenes but make things happen. And we're going to talk about their longevity, because when you have an employee that's been there 15 years or 14 years or 9 years, and it seems like everything nowadays is pre-Ike, post-Ike.
Right, exactly.
And a lot of your employees came on right after Ike, know. And I know everyone was busy then too, but we're going to start introducing you to the people that make it happen. We've got to know Chandra and her role. You've seen Dave on some of the shows, and I'm sure he'll be on. But we're going to introduce you to some of the inspectors and some of the engineers that design these homes, and their thoughts on coastal living in Bolivar. And so
Mhm.
it's going to be a little different show, but I think it'll still be that engineering, and you never know when we may pull in a new project that they're working on, or showcase some of the engineering. And the fortification program is really an upcoming program, and I'm sure I want to touch
Yeah.
on that some more, and the strong home inspection, because I think before it's all over with, the strong home inspection program will sort of be like,
Mhm.
in my feelings, sort of like taking driver's ed. If you do an inspection every year and it's repaired, then they ought to give you a discount on it. And so
Yeah.
we may talk a little bit about what it takes for that, and the fortification. So, well, Chandra, you were finished your time on the board. You took a
Yeah.
cruise for a week. You're back
Yes.
now. Welcome to Texas again.
Thank you. I'm refreshed and ready to hit it hard for this end of the year, last quarter of the year, and get prepared for next year, because I think it's going to be a bang up year. I think we've seen some interest rate drops. We're seeing a little bit of a change in construction, people being a little less skeptical. I'm hoping we
Right,
get through this election cycle, and maybe we'll see everybody's a little bit more positive moving forward, and having a little bit more, um, you
yeah,
know, positive attitude about the
right,
economy and the way that the country is going. So I think that they'll be a little less hesitant to spend money and do projects and move forward. And I think it's great. So we're
right,
excited about
right.
2025.
Well, thanks for showing us your plaque, and
Yeah.
really, I know I've talked to a lot of people that, I had one person say, "Why are you talking TWIA?" Well, you don't own a home down here, so you don't understand.
Yeah.
But people really enjoyed our dive into TWIA, and what
And
was
I'll still
going
be able to
on.
give you some commentary on it just from the outside looking in.
Right, right. And if I have my way, or my wish comes true, we'll still have someone maybe we can bring in that's on the board too. Keep our fingers crossed. So, well, thanks for joining us this morning. Welcome back to being just an individual running a business here,
Yes,
and
sir.
we'll catch up with you next week, and we'll start off by letting people know about Aaron and Franklin and some of the employees, and then we'll start bringing the employees in.
Sounds great.
I appreciate it. We're going to head on out. Until next time, I'm David with Bolivar Live. Y'all have a great day, great week. Come see us. God bless, and bye bye.